very curious. And last time I came here with, actually I came to the UK when I was young. It was in '99. I did my PhD there, and then I left. And I used to work for a corporate, so I helped build a team for business marketing of Orange in Slovakia. And I wanted to work for a bigger company, so I quit and I went to London, and I wanted to apply for a bigger job. So I was doing marketing for mobile broadband for Orange globally from London. And then it was for a while, 5 years. So I quit. I went to Los Angeles. I was working there, and then when I came back, I didn't want to go to a corporate environment. I felt like technology is getting exciting, and it was about 2010, 2012. So in 2013, I came to London again, and I had to discover a totally new face of London, which I didn't know. And I wanted to get involved with technology. And I wanted to find the startup folks, which was very hard to find because I knew the corporate events and the corporate space, like Microsoft and Oracle and Orange. I did not know anything about technology. And it took me about 2 months to go to all the wrong meetups, the meetings of people who are excited but had no idea what to do. And because I didn't like those meetups, to be honest, I thought maybe I can do a better one. I was ignorant enough to think I can do better. So I decided to do my own style of events. And when we did 3 events, we had a call with the Startup Grind founder, and he asked me if I can do Startup Grind in London. I said sure, why not? So that's how I ended up in London doing events, because I thought I can do better events than other people.
And how many chapters were there with Startup Grind at that point?
It was about maybe 18 or 20, yeah, so less than now.
So one of the early adopters, as they say.
Yes, that's true. And we started doing Startup Grind events like this one, and startups are amazing and exciting, but it's important not to stay in the mindset of a startup, because the objective should not be doing startups all your life unless you're an investor, but to start your company and always think about what is the next level for the company. And it's very important, and I've learned this from the audience in our speakers, because we had in the last 5 years we had founders of maybe 50 or 60 billion dollar plus companies. So we have the smartest people on stage, and we learn from them. And it's important to really to always think about how do you get your company to the next level.
Great. So you decided to stay in London. You didn't stay in LA.
I was there 3 years, but LA is amazing for quality of life. It's a nice sunny weather outside, but I can't work there because I have to be outside all the time. So I had to go to a rainy London where I can be in the office and not feel bad for working too long.
All right, so the bad weather motivation is part of it. So what would you say about London relative to some of the other tech centers around the world? Everybody talks about Silicon Valley. What would you say as founders are thinking about maybe a next move beyond Georgia, either incorporating somewhere else or having a sales office or something like that? How would you characterize London relative to other options in the world?
Well, like Tbilisi is a hub between Asia and Europe, and it's connecting dots. London is, after Silicon Valley and New York, the 3rd largest technology hub in the world. And it's a good place to be. Of course, you can start a company today anywhere in the world. You don't need to be there. You can start a company from Tbilisi and do it here. But if you want to harness the energy of London, which is amazing, and connect the right people, it's good for companies who want to conquer another part of the world. So, for example, a startup can easily start up from here, and then if you want to expand the operation to target the UK market, you can set up operations in there. It's good to be, as a startup, at the beginning a bit opportunistic, because you always have multiple options, and one of them is, since there is a very good kind of mental highway between Georgia and the UK, it's good to use that. And London offers lots of opportunities to learn very fast. So there are plenty of conferences, there are interesting accelerators, They are interesting VCs and angel stage investors. And if you go there for a month, you can meet many of them very easily. And this can be the platform to get your company to the next level.
Great. It helps that there are direct flights.
Oh yeah, yeah. When I was leaving last time, we were here like 2 months ago. I flew Georgian Airways. You know, we have regular direct flights, which is super awesome.
Yeah, that's something I'm hoping for from the U.S. too. Yeah. So when you were in London, what sort of startups did you get involved in initially, and how did you? So I think the events, it sounds like, was a very big thing. And actually, interestingly enough, it seems like a lot of startup Grand chapter directors are people from somewhere else. So you came to London, I came to Georgia. So it's an interesting network that way. But beyond that, what were some of the sort of business engagements you had in the startup community outside of the networking things?
Yeah, so there are, it's very important to figure out people very quickly, because you can lose lots of energy and time talking to the wrong people. And as we all meet many people, it's good to know what makes an investor a real investor. Like for example, when I go to an event and when I meet somebody who says investor, it takes like 3 questions to figure out if he's real or not. First of all, the good investors, but if I ask simple question like how many deals do you do per year, and if he says maybe I don't know, and it's he tries to avoid the question, then there's a warning sign, or what's the last deal you did, or something simple, you can figure it out. The same way you speak to founders who are just starting a company, and there's nothing wrong to not know what your company is going to be one day. It's important to be always honest, because if you start to kind of make the truth a bit nicer, it's suspicious. And good investors really like people who are honest. So honesty is very, very important. And so when I came there, I wanted to really meet the right people very fast. And when talking to startups, now I have the chance to see it from the other perspective, because after meeting super smart people, it took me, like 2 years to figure out what to do with the wealth of value we get from Startup Grind, because we're also helping other people, we're connecting people, but we also have the opportunity to meet many interesting startups. And so about 2.5, 3 years ago, we started a fund. So we invest in startups as well, and fast-growing companies. And the good learning for me is that the companies which are the most amazing are the companies which you don't really hear from, because they are too busy selling or making the product even faster. So the companies we don't hear about for a long time are the ones which are doing best. But it's important to have the mindset of falling forward. Like, it's okay to make a mistake, but you just learn from it, adapt, and just keep going forward.
Great. So when you say the fund that you are involved with is focused on fast-growing companies, what does that look like in your context?
Yeah. So also startups in the room. If you're looking for funding and for investors, it's the fastest way to get a good investor is to have somebody who is specialized in your area. So, for example, if I have a cybersecurity startup, it's good to have somebody who is focused on the space, because there's probably a chance that he's going to know all the key players in the space, and the corporates who can potentially buy your company at some stage, and so on. So what we decided to focus on 3 areas. One is mobility, one is energy technology, and one is applied AI. So those 3 areas. And because the chance, I know every market in the world is very small, but I can focus on being an expert on 1 or 2 markets, and this is increasing the chance of the company. So we like to speak with startups which are in our space, and in our space, hopefully we can help them to get to the next level.
And what was the last deal you did?
The last deal we did was a company which is, you had a VR company here on stage, right? Yeah. So we invested in a company called Matsuko, and this company is doing AR, so augmented reality. And what they do, maybe if you have seen the movie Kingsman, there was a scene where you had like a virtual meeting. You put on glasses, and you see the people around the room. So you are here from New York, She is here from Hong Kong, and we can have a meeting. So it's a Skype 3D based on augmented reality, and it's basically in real time changing from your phone. You can show a video, and I see you in 3D in real time over long distances. So it's a conference call technology like Zoom, but in 3D and using AR.
Cool, cool. So when I think about London, I think a lot about fintech, and it's a good place to be for fintech. And as people think about, sort of, maybe London and Berlin and San Francisco, is it more about fintech, or are there other sort of areas which you feel are appealing in London or well developed, or is it pretty sort of ecumenical in its offering?
Yeah, so yes, fintech is super strong, and they say today is the world's capital for fintech is London, and companies like Revolut. I don't know if Revolut is already in Georgia, or you have Monzo, and you have Starling Bank, TransferWise. All these billion-dollar plus companies has started in London. Funny enough, many of them are companies of founders who are from somewhere else. So, for example, the founder of Revolut is from Ukraine, Russia. The founder of TransferWise is from Estonia, and so on. So many people who have an idea, they come to London to make it faster, because you can meet the right investors very fast. They can help you, and you go to the next stage of the company. But yes, fintech is very, very strong in London. But so are other companies like Deliveroo is a big company, multi-billion today as well. It's a logistics company. But you have companies which are focusing on mostly financial technology, but lots of deep tech is happening there as well, and lots of health tech. So Babylon Health, for example, just raised around the valuation of they raised $500 million now in London. It's a company which is based in London. So health technology as well.
Okay. I realized that I didn't ask my usual first question. How do you like Georgia?
I love it. I was here once before, and I love. For me, I traveled around many countries. I've seen a few, and for me, a country, it's nice if you have a nice mountains and landscape. But to me, the real soul of the country is the culture of the people and the mentality. And what I love about Georgia is the openness. Like for example, when you go to Morocco, Morocco is one of the few countries where Muslims and Jews are living in peace, and to me, it's amazing. And I really love the openness of the Georgian culture. You can come here, and at the airport, you see people from multiple religions, multiple countries. You see diversity here. And I hope if it's going to stay focused on connecting the dots, there's a big opportunity. And because you have a lovely country, the tourism is going to be booming.
Do you feel like in the UK there's more awareness of Georgia as a tourist destination? Because I know the US there was not much awareness. UK there was a little bit more, but have you seen that changing in recent years?
I have, but I still have to say that not many of my UK friends have been to Georgia before, and people love interesting stories, and like the country where wine was invented, that's a super strong proposition, and if you can invent or if you can really promote the true story and connect it and make it a full circle user experience. So it's not only a country where wine was invented, it's also a country where you have amazing wineries. It's also a country which has direct flights from London or from the UK. And you can go there and you will love the culture. Then if you connect all those dots, you'll be having more people coming in and enjoy Georgia.
Yeah, and I think that's part of what I see potentially coming out of some of these dynamics with Startup Grind and some of the co-working spaces and some of the the cool places in Georgia, particularly in Tbilisi. It's become a place where people they heard somebody went there and they're like, I want to see what's going on there, and so on and so forth. And so one of the things we're trying to do actually with the Startup Grind is when people come to visit, that they maybe connect with the local startup community, and they have those outside connections and outside background, so that it helps broaden the startup community internationally. So I kind of see some of this tourism is also network development for startups.
I agree, and it's I in my home country of Slovakia, I host this think tank for top 20 CEOs in Central Eastern Europe. And when I offered some of them if they want to come to join me to come to Georgia, to my surprise, they said yes immediately. And the advantage is that it's still a very adventurous destination where people didn't go, and they're curious. And last time I came here with the co-founder of AVG, which was sold for 1.4 billion, and he's now doing cybersecurity investment and impact investing. This time, there's the main and the first investor of Wizz Air. Do you know Wizz Air?
Oh yeah.
So Wizz Air is doing today 3 billion in revenues every year. And Zoltan Varga, who is now actually after this talk, we're gonna be speaking on the next stage, so you can come and join us. Zoltan was the first investor, the first outside investor, and the biggest investor there. And normally, if you're an investor and you make like 10x, it's like a jackpot. At Wizz Air, he made 180x of his investment, so he's a very happy guy. But and he's also busy. But when we go to Georgia, and last time he couldn't join us, but Boris told him about Georgia, then he was sold because it's. And he came and he's so excited. So they decided, I shouldn't tell you, they wanna invest here as well a little bit. So I'm sure they're gonna be coming back.
Excellent! Yay! And to me, this sort of kind of illustrative of investment dynamics in general is a lot of times the way people connect with investors is through some common acquaintances or common interests and so on and so forth. And so like just expecting like a UK investor to take an interest in Georgia is more difficult than somebody who's already taken an interest and already is engaging. So it's an interesting aspect.
And it's so simple. We finished the talk. I had a talk before the lunch break with Boris and Peter, two investors. And, a startup just came up to Boris and said, hey, we're doing this, and do you want to come and visit us tonight? He said yes. So there's going to be already a talk about, they're doing a blockchain for wine, for example. And so it's very simple because here you have the advantage of everybody here from all the speakers are hanging out today, tomorrow, and it's so simple to come up to somebody, say hi, and introduce yourself, explain what you do. And these opportunities should not be neglected because this can go a long way.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point. And that's one of the things that we've been really thinking about, because when I've been to these big conferences, you see, folks from Sequoia or some of these big VC funds. You see them on stage. You don't see them hanging out, in the cafe and in exhibits and so on and so forth. So I think this is a very interesting opportunity that if we can create this as an attraction for people to come and not just in and out for an hour because they're in Redwood City anyway, but they want to come for a destination. So yeah.
It's true, and if you ever want to come to visit the US or you want to look for an excuse to go to the US, in February we host this big conference, the Startup Grind Global, and we have also many investors there, and it's now going to be about 8,000-9,000 people there, and from the speakers we have, there are always speakers and investors who you can see they are passionate about entrepreneurs. One of them is Vinod Khosla. Maybe you've heard of him. He's the founder of Sun Microsystems, and today he's one of the top 10 investors in the world. And he always insists to leave through the main hall because he wants to meet investors. And he's not like some other founders who just run through the back door and run away from startups because there's too many who want to talk to them. But this is something which I truly appreciate about somebody, because those people did not forget where they came from, and the culture of giving back. I think we've been lucky by learning more than others in the startup world and technology world, and I think we also have this duty of giving back to the upcoming generation and just pass it forward.
Great. Well, I think that's actually a good comment to end on, and I would want to suggest that After this, as you go upstairs and interview Zoltan, I think it'd be great for folks to really show a good Georgian welcome to him in the room there. So, but also thank you,
My
Marian.
pleasure.
All right.